Shalom, shalom. What's happening? Okay, so there's been something on my mind for years, actually, and I'm finally making a video about it today. This is Eitan Ben Avraham for Aleph Male, alephmale.com. Jewish sacred masculinity. Human beings, men, are made in God's image. We're not here to be the top dog. We're not here to be like a DOG. We're here to be like GOD, where we have a holy divine spark inside of us, and that's actually what I want to talk about. So there's a movie that came out a while back called The Secret, which popularized this concept of manifestation. And I just want to talk about the issue I have with the concept of manifestation and the term that I like to use and I'll live my life with, which is co-creation. So manifestation is based on the idea that the universe is intelligent and that we as human beings can communicate with the intelligence of the universe through our thoughts, through our minds, through visualizing. And by visualizing the things that we want, whether it's a big house or a red Porsche or love, whatever it is, we like put it out there and we visualize it and we believe it, and then it comes into our life. And you know, the problem that I have with that, the problem I have with manifestation is that it's not based on service. It's not based on how can I give. It's based on how can I get. How am I going to get that house? How am I going to get that car? And there's nothing wrong with wanting things. But nonetheless, the Jewish path is the path of service. The question is not what can I get? The question is what can I give? And more specifically, even how can I serve God? Right? Because I'm made in God's image, and the highest I can do is align myself with God's will. And it even says in Pirkei Avot, if you make your will His will, He will make His will your will. Right? Meaning in any situation, whether I'm talking to my wife or I'm standing in line, if my goal, my meta goal is to be of service to God, right? Then I start co-creating with God because God's will is flowing through everything at all times. So if I align my will with His will, then He aligns His will with my will because I am now co-creating with Him. And that's a very, very different concept than manifestation, right? Which is based on, my ego, essentially. And so that concept of alignment, of having kavanah, having the intention, kavanah means intention, having the kavanah to align my will with God's will, actually it taps me into the root of the creator of the universe, which is very, very different than like me isolated, wanting a Porsche, putting it out there that I want a Porsche, and then somehow, believing that I'm going to get a Porsche, but then it's like, what? Then what? What am I giving? What am I tapping into? It's still all about me. Right? But as a co-creator, right? As a Jew, as a person who's walking the path of the Torah, as a co-creator with God, everywhere you go, you're walking with God. Everywhere you go, you're aligning your will with God's will, right? And in aligning your will with God's will, you become a giver, right? In Hebrew, the word for like a manly man is a gever. Well, a gever is a giver. So on that note, may Hashem bless you to be a giver. May Hashem bless you to align your will with God's will through Torah, through mitzvot, through acts of kindness, through tzedakah, Jewish sacred masculinity, alephmale.com. You have a divine spark inside you. Peace and shalom.